Alrighty, well, hello everybody. Thanks for joining us today on a Getting Started with ClearStream RFID webinar. It's an introduction webinar to ClearStream RFID, as well as I'll give the opportunity to show a little bit of our RTLS software that we're going to be releasing soon. My name is Howie Heckman, one of the developers here at PTS, heavily involved in the development of ClearStream and a lot of the new products and features that we add to the ClearStream RFID suite of products. So I have the enjoyment to show you guys some of the new stuff today, as well as give you a overview of getting started with ClearStream. So a little bit about the agenda for the day, for the webinar. Firstly, again, thanks for joining us, but we're going to be showing you a little bit about what ClearStream RFID is. I'll go through a live demonstration of actually setting up the ClearStream RFID software so you can see how easy it is to get started with fixed RFID, BLE, as well as fixed industrial barcode scanning, and using those different data collection technologies and mapping them to a pre-existing system. At the end of the webinar, I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek, like I mentioned, about our cutting-edge RTLS for ClearStream RFID location tracking. So it's going to be a brief demonstration, but I just wanted to give everybody on the webinar today a sneak peek of some of the new stuff that's just around the corner here at PTS. So we will be quickly showing that so you guys can get an idea what that is all about. And as always, we will have a question and answer period at the end of the webinar. So if you have any questions as I go through anything today, use the question panel in the GoToWebinar toolbar there. Just send your questions over. I'll read them aloud at the end and try to get to as many as possible. So with that, let's get started. So the first slide I just have a couple slides here, but the first one I have is for anybody new, completely new to ClearStream RFID, just what ClearStream RFID is. So ClearStream RFID, it's a suite of RFID products and services that allow you to get up and running with fixed RFID, Bluetooth beacons, fixed industrial scanners, like I mentioned, and mapping those different types of data collection technologies into a pre-existing system. The real benefits of this software is that it's drag and drop and point and click. So all of those data collection technologies can be just configured very quickly to map to a pre-existing system. So the base portion of ClearStream is really a middleware that just allows anyone to configure these data collection devices to a back-end system. So it hooks up those different technologies to anything that you'd like on the back end. There's no programming involved with ClearStream RFID. It's really a development or an application environment that we allow you to configure for these different technologies. There's no programming involved, so you can get up and running very quickly with the application and see the technology in your environment. And that's one of the main things that we look at with ClearStream RFID is how can we get these different technologies accessible to anyone as quickly as possible. You know, maybe this is the first time you're seeing a fixed RFID reader. You don't have to do any custom programming to scan tags and see what the performance is like in your environment. You can use ClearStream to quickly hook that reader up to your database or backend system. It's also completely configurable to many applications. Just like I mentioned, it really goes back into any backend database. There's a whole suite of different places you can send the data that's being collected by these devices, where you can send those. So it's all configurable. As well as I'll also get into in a little bit, the PTS Cloud to allow you to use our services here at PTS to put together a full end-to-end solution if maybe you don't have a back-end system for these different data collection devices. And one of the biggest features of ClearStream RFID is that it's free to try. Everything that I show you guys here today, you can go ahead and set up even along with me on the webinar if you wanted to, but afterwards you can go ahead to our website at clearstreamrfid.com, download the software using the download button or free trial links that you see on the website there, fill out the form and you can download and install ClearStream RFID and then do everything that I'm showing you today. So it's one of the main benefits of ClearStream RFID. We let you download and trial the software, see how the technology works in your environment, and then just grow it from there. So what sets ClearStream RFID apart? So really the first thing is we support a wide variety of hardware. ClearStream is not locked down to a particular manufacturer, even a particular technology. We try to support as many best-in-class devices as possible for these passive data collection devices. So fixed UHF RFID, even HF scanning, maybe badge scanning with HF card tags. Bluetooth beacons. We allow through ClearStream to stream Bluetooth beacon data to a pre-existing system in a very similar way that the UHF and HF RFID scanning is done, as well as, again, fixed industrial barcode scanners. So dummy scanners that you might have on a conveyor belt or something like that, you can hook those types of devices up through the ClearStream middleware and send that data to any backend database. So it's not locked down, again, to a particular manufacturer or technology, and that list is continually growing as we release new versions of the software. It's very flexible in the use cases that you can configure ClearStream. So maybe a lot of things that people have seen in the past with fixed RFID, it's a full-blown system and it's set up for a particular task. Maybe you don't use a lot of the feature set within other products. ClearStream, since it's configured for your use case, you can really configure it for anything, for tracking anything. And you can do small installations. Maybe you just want to set up a tabletop RFID scanner to do like document tracking, and just a simple one reader, one database or text file that you're sending this tag data to track maybe documents as you place them on top of the desk. You can set ClearStream up for something like that. You can also set it up for portal loading dock scanning. So you can configure logic in the application to track items as they're going in and out of a location. And you can outfit an entire location with the fixed RFID readers or BLE gateways, and use ClearStream to map all of that data back into a pre-existing system. So you can build the system out as you need to. For simple use cases, more complex use cases, it's really up to you and how you configure it. You're not locked into a particular piece of software that does something and maybe more than you might need. And it can grow with your business as as processes come online that maybe you want to add RFID to or BLE scanning. You can build those out into the application as you need them. It's also, again, backend system agnostic. It connects to really any backend system, from simple text files to large ERP systems. It can also connect to a newer service of ours called the PTS Cloud, which I'll just briefly mention here. It's a service that we provide at PTS that allows you to kind of spec out with us a cloud-based portal for your data and your processes. So we spec out a system for you that we host in a PTS cloud, and we can hook up the fixed RFID readers or different devices you have in your environment to this cloud. So it's accessible anywhere. It's configured and customized to the particular processes that you may be looking to do. It's a service that we provide, so if you'd like more information on that, please reach out to us after the webinar. But it also just gives you the ability for a complete end-to-end solution with ClearStream and these different devices that you might have in the field. So maybe you don't already have a backend database or system that you'd like to add fixed RFID or these different data collection technologies to. Maybe you want to create something new that you don't already have in place. That might be a good place for the PTS Cloud, where you can spin up with us a cloud-based data collection portal that these fixed RFID readers, BLE beacons, and scanners are sending and feeding the data to that system, so anybody in your environment can see it. And before I get into the live demo here, I just wanted to mention that there's really two versions of the ClearStream product itself. Today, I'm going to be demoing the one on the left here, the ClearStream RFID for Windows, the Management Studio. It's a server-based application that allows you to configure all of these devices to some destination where you'd like to send the collected data to. It's a centrally installed and configured application so that you install it on a server within your environment, and then you map the readers and different devices into your systems through that one piece of software. And then that piece of software runs on the server and is always controlling those readers in your environment. And the use cases for the ClearStream server-based software are really on-premise type solutions where you may have a bunch of readers that are all on the same network, maybe the same VPN, where you have access to all of those pieces of equipment, and you can map them through this Windows server-based application to that destination database. It's the central software that's controlling all of those devices and getting all of the data from it. Now, there's certain use cases where that might not be the most ideal for your setup. And we've developed a kind of a side-by-side application that works with ClearStream RFID for Windows, but it's called ClearStream RFID Onboard. So if you're on your website, on our website, I wanted to kind of illustrate the two versions here. Again, the ClearStream for Windows is running on a server and handling all of the communication to all of your devices in your network. The ClearStream onboard application runs on the reader and actually can run standalone on the reader and phone tag data home to a third-party system or even ClearStream for Windows. So it can send it back over to ClearStream for Windows so they can kind of work in tandem. But it opens up different use cases for the ClearStream product where it's running on the reader. It has the capability of storing data on the reader and batch sending that data home when it has network connectivity. So it can be used in use cases where maybe you want to just ship a reader out to a different location and you need that location to send data back to maybe a cloud portal or something like that, because it doesn't always have direct connectivity to your internal network. So the ClearStream onboard application can feed that data from the outside and push that data to another location. And like I said, it can work in tandem with ClearStream RFID for Windows. That's one of the cool things about it, is that you can actually set up any reader you'd like with this ClearStream onboard product, have it collect data locally on the device and push it over to the ClearStream for Windows application, and that will then feed another system so they can work together. But again, it's ideal for like distributed or remote readers where the readers might be offsite. So imagine just loading the reader up with ClearStream on board, shipping it to a location. That reader is just plugged in to a network, and as long as it's been pre-configured to point back to the server, it'll push that data to where it needs to go. So I just wanted to illustrate there are two different versions of the ClearStream software. There's the ClearStream Windows centralized software that is installed on a server, and ClearStream on board, which runs on our supported readers. And I should note there that there are a certain number of readers that it can run on. Currently, those are readers provided by Zebra Technologies and Impinj, that R700 you can see on the bottom right there. You can download the versions for those pieces of equipment, install them on there, and they'll run on the device. And it's got a lot of cool stuff that it can do on the device itself before it sends that data over. So with that, I think I'm going to jump into the live demo. Yes, here. So I'm going to jump out of the PowerPoint here. Let me just check this question panel because I see some questions. I will be getting to the questions at the end of the PowerPoint. So I'll leave your questions here, but at the end I see there's already a number of them popping up. So I will answer those at the end, if that's okay for everybody. Okay, so here is ClearStream. This is ClearStream again, Management Studio for Windows, and it's a routing application that allows you to map a passive data collection device to a destination where you'd like to send that tag data. So after you go to our website and download from ClearStreamRFID.com and run through the installer, you'll open up the application, you'll be presented with this here. And the way this works is on the left-hand side, you'll see it has a source tab. This is the source of your data in your environment. And the source is really an RFID scanner, or a Bluetooth scanner, or one of those fixed industrial scanners. That's the source of your data in your environment. It could be in any number of those. You can configure as many as you'd like within ClearStream. The destination is where you'd like to send that data as it's being collected by the physical device every time it's scanned. And based on your settings, it'll send them as needed, but it'll send it to the destination. Now for the demonstration today, what I was going to do is actually hook up a Zebra reader that I have on my desk here to the Microsoft Access database that actually comes with the ClearStream installation. So if you go to your install folder of where ClearStream is installed, and let me just show you this here, Program Files, PTS, ClearStream RFID 7, and then Data, there's a Microsoft Access database in here, and I have this open already, but that's this here. Now this comes with ClearStream when you install it on your PC or server. So you'll have access to this. So again, everything that I'm showing you here, you can go ahead and kind of demo on your side if you'd like, and you can follow along even after this webinar and send data to this information. But you can see right now there's no tag data in this database. Now this could be SQL Server, MySQL, Postgres, anything like that if you already have something in your environment. But I'm going to go ahead with this sample that's provided. Let me move that out of the way. And I don't have any configuration yet. So actually, one thing I want to do is I want to start populating this RFID tag list database table with tags from my Zebra FX9600 that's sitting right here on my desk next to me. So I'm going to move this back out of the way. The first thing I'm going to do is, since I already know the database I want to send it to, I'm going to configure the destination first. I want to send all my tag data to this database. So from the type dropdown, I'm going to go ahead and select ODBC as my type. Now, just to mention some of these other options you have here, ODBC is Open Database Connectivity, and it'll allow you to send it to any type of database where there's an ODBC driver, which is really most databases. So Oracle, MySQL, Postgres, Microsoft SQL Server, Microsoft Access, all things like that, you can select through ODBC here. SQL Server allows you to go straight to SQL Server by just entering your username and password rather than having to set up the ODBC side. But you could just go ahead and enter your username and password. You can also go to an Excel workbook or a text file. So if you really have a simple application and you'd like to just scan tags and send it to an Excel worksheet, you can do that. If you select Excel, you're just selecting the file where that Excel workbook's loaded and then the worksheet that you want to send the tag data to. Finally, the custom endpoint here, this allows you to do things like go to an email. So ClearStream will actually allow you to send a tag read or a beacon read or something like that to an email. So maybe it's a tag that's not supposed to go through a portal. You can shoot out an email to somebody that needs to be notified of that. It also allows you to send to custom URL endpoints. So you can do like a web service REST request so that you can go through some type of web service API and send the tag data that's being collected by this equipment to that. So you can go ahead and select a custom endpoint there. For this case, I'm going to go ahead and select ODBC. When you select that, it'll then pop up the configuration for an ODBC data source. The data source dropdown is all of the databases you have configured on your PC. Anyone that's installed ClearStream will see this ClearStream RFID sample option here in the dropdown. I'm going to go ahead and select that. When I select that, it populates the table dropdown with all of the tables in that database. And so you'll notice these are the same as what I have here in this Microsoft Access database. So for the sample, I'm going to go ahead and select, rather than the BLE beacon list, I'm going to go ahead and select RFID tag list. That's the table in this database, again, that I'd like to start populating with RFID tag reads. So I'll move that out of the way. So next thing I need to do is actually just hook up the reader. I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible without any settings and just turn it on so you can see that. So I'm going to jump into the devices because I don't have any configured just yet. I'm going to go up to the add button here and select add. And I'm going to pick the device type I'd like to add to my environment. In this case, it'll be a Zebra reader. I'm going to click into the IP address hostname field and hit find, and search my network for any Zebra readers on this network. Now, this will take a little bit here. It's searching across our network, looking for Zebra, specifically fixed RFID readers, which we do have a number of them on here. So you'll start to see them pop up in my find results dialog here. But it'll pop the readers up as it finds them, and it displays some information about those readers, so the host name, the device type, and things like that, so you can start configuring them, and you know which one you're using. So here it found an FX7500 Zebra device on our network. I'm going to wait till this pops up. I do know the IP address of this, so when it does, I will select it. But again, it's searching through our network. So this is a nice, helpful tool that you can really take any one of these devices, plug them into your network, and if they're set up on like DHCP, they will, the ClearStream product will find them on your network. So you don't need to know the IP address necessarily or the host name. You can just let this find tool find all of those devices on your network and have them populate here. So I'm going to hit stop because it found the one I wanted to. Now, this is the one that I'm doing here. This is sitting next to me on my desk here. It's this 4.190. It's a Zebra FX9600 device, and I'm just going to go ahead and select this device and hit the select button. And all that does is it adds now that device to my configuration. I'm actually just going to hit close here because now I have a device on my destination side. Just to mention down below, I have the field mapping set up. This will go by kind of default, but it marries up the fields of data that are collected by the reader to the fields that are within this RFID tag list. So this is all I want to configure here, and I'm just going to hit start. So when I hit start, it's actually going to power up this 9600 and start scanning tags, and you'll see the tags sent to the destination goes up as it reads them. If I refresh this list, you can see I'm now capturing all of the RFID tags that are nearby here on this 9600, and it's populating them in this Microsoft Access database, along with some of the other information that it collects about this every tag read. The antenna that read the tag, the signal strength, a date time stamp of when the tag was read, the reader name, and I'm going to go ahead and stop this. So I just read 68 tags, and they all went into my database here in Microsoft Access. If I hit refresh just to get all 68, you'll see I have the 68 records down in the record count below. Now, if I sort these, a couple things to note. I'm going to sort them A to Z. You can see I actually read the same tag a bunch of times. Here, this 55 tag twice, these tags twice, and a whole bunch of these actually read a bunch of times by the reader. And that's because I just set it up by default. I just added this reader, didn't do anything to it, selected the destination and hit start, and it starts scanning tags and sending them over to this Access database. In a lot of cases, this isn't very important. It's overkill in the data that you're reading. I know this tag was sitting nearby 55. I don't necessarily need to report it all the time. I just want it in my database once, maybe when it shows up, and then again when it leaves. I also had it on full power. So I got a bunch of tags, and I'm not even sure where they are next to my desk here. I'm just scanning any kind of thing in the area, and it's reporting it to the database. So now let's go ahead and let's set up a little bit of control over that. So you guys get an idea of what you can configure within ClearStream and how you can control these readers to get only the data that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and actually just delete everything here, this data. So again, my Access database is empty. I'll move that out of the way. Excuse me. My reader stopped. I'm going to reset the tags that sent to destination back down to 0 because I want to change the behavior a little bit. I'm going to reduce the antenna power so I don't get so many tags. And I also want to limit the tags that get sent to the database to only send maybe when they first show up in front of the antenna, and then maybe when they leave. I want to get a dwell time of that tag when it's sitting in front of the RFID equipment. So I'm going to go back over to configure and jump back into the devices configuration for this reader. Now you'll notice I only had one antenna there. I was only reporting on antenna 1. So I'm going to add an antenna here. I'm going to call it my desk antenna. We'll call this Heckman Cube. And so I'm making some settings changes here. I named my reader now Heckman Cube. So now this reader actually has a name. So when I'm looking at the tag data in my database, I can see what reader in my environment read it. My antenna also has a name, so I'm able to see which antenna, because this reader here can support up to 8 antennas. So we're going to give them names so we know which antenna recorded the tag. And also I'm going to lower the power level. I only want to read the tags that are very, very close to this antenna, so I can limit what I'm reading in my environment. Finally, I want to jump over to the tag settings. Now, all I've done so far is name things and reduce the antenna power, but I do want to control the tags if they're sitting in front of the antenna as well, so that I'm only reporting things that I want. So I mentioned I only want to report a tag when it first shows up, and again when it leaves. So from these tag events area, I'm going to leave on report visible. That means that the tag's in front of the antenna is being seen. So I want to report that event. But I only want to report it again after it goes not visible. So only after the antenna leaves the area, the tag leaves the area, and then comes back do I want to report it again. And I also want to report that the tag is no longer visible. I want to report how long it's been here. So let's try this. I'm going to do on desk and off desk for my events. So these two events are what happens when the tag shows up and maybe somebody's just taking a folder and placing it on my desk. I'm getting a read of when it's put down, and then when they come by later and pick that folder back up and walk away, it's going to get another read of when it left. So those are the only settings changes I'll make. Again, I have low power. I've named my antenna and my reader, and I've set it up so that the tag should only be reported for the two events for visible and then not visible. So I'll go back over to start stop. And now what you'll notice is I have the reader running, but it's not scanning anything. And that's because I've dialed the power down. So I'm not getting all of these random tags in the area. I'm just getting what's in the read zone. And so that's an important thing within ClearStream. If you're setting up a portal where you only want to scan things when they go through a portal, you want to dial that power down. So you're only reading in the area that you'd like. So I'm going to take two tags here. I'm just going to place them over next to the antenna. And you'll see it immediately reports those two tags, just went up to 2, to my database. So now if I go to Microsoft Access, now you can see the two tags that I've read have been read by my desk antenna at this time in the Heckman Cube location, and they're both on desk. So both of these tags are on my desk currently, and I have the date time stamps of when that happened. At the same time, you'll notice this isn't going up, even though those tags are sitting there, and they're physically being scanned by the equipment. But because I've instructed it to not tell me about those tags until they go away, I'm not going to see them again here being reported to my database. So I'm controlling that data that gets sent to the destination. I only want the important events. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these tags and walk them away. I'm just lifting them up. Now it's a 5-second interval that I have, so it'll take 5 seconds here. But after those 5 seconds, you'll see another 2 events were reported to the database. If I go back to Microsoft Access and hit refresh, now I have 2 new entries in my database for these tags for off desk. So if I put this in order here of tag read, I get the 2 events on desk for each tag, and then off desk just a minute later. So you can keep track of how long those tags were in the area. So this was a very close read range. You can dial that up if you'd like a bigger area. Maybe you're doing like tracking through an item through assembly. You want to see how long it's at a particular station. You might have a couple of antennas outfitted at this assembly station. You can get the tag reads when they first show up, and then the tag reads when they leave, and you can get those time stamps sent to the database. So you can kind of see just a couple minor tweaks within ClearStream. I was able to control the data as it's being sent to my database and what's actually being stored there, just the relevant information. I don't want too much sent to the database. I don't want to overwhelm my database with sort of redundant information. You know, you can get thousands of tag reads potentially per minute on these tags, and you don't necessarily want to record or bombard your database with all of that data. You just want the good stuff from this RFID tag read to be recorded in your database. So the next thing I wanted to do actually is go back, and I'm going to configure a virtual reader through another kind of cool feature of ClearStream, just so you can see this actually. Since there's no camera on me showing the tags jumping over to that antenna there. I'm going to do the same thing with a virtual reader within ClearStream. And so it's going to configure a second piece of equipment. So I'll go ahead and stop my reader again. Let me reset it back to 0. And I'm going to jump back to the configuration. And what I'll do this time is I'm going to set up again a fake reader. So we have this feature within ClearStream RFID, the Management Studio, called the Virtual Site Survey. So I jump in here. I can quickly create a little floor plan of my environment and place some readers in here to set up. Let's do the same thing that I just set up with the Zebra reader. Excuse me. I'm going to put 1 reader on my floor. I'll go ahead and add 1 antenna. I'll just leave it like this as a circle, but I could move this around if I needed to, if it was directional. But I'll leave that as a circle. I'm going to add 1, oops, not what I wanted. I'll move that over here. I'm going to add 1 tag container, and this is the item being that has an RFID tag on it. That's going to go in here and be scanned. So this is basically the same thing that I had done for the actual Zebra equipment that I had here, but I'm going to do it in this virtual environment. And one of the cool things about this little tool here is that it can show you how ClearStream works. You can set things up if you don't have equipment, and the settings are identical really to the actual Zebra or Impinj or whatever equipment you happen to be using. The settings are all the same, so you can test everything out here, and then when you have equipment, you can go ahead and just configure the same thing with the other equipment. So I'll move this out of the way. Now I need to add an additional process here. So let's call this one the zebra process. And we'll call this one the emulated process. And this one we're going to hook up to the same database, but different equipment. So this actually applies to even if you had real equipment in your environment and you wanted to set up a bunch of them. You can configure these new processes to have the different equipment married to different same destination or different destinations. So for this, I'm going to go ahead and select the same one. I'm going to go to ClearStream RFID sample, RFID tag list. From the devices, I need to add a new device because this one's not zebra. It's going to be the emulated option here. And this will be called the fake cube. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I want one antenna. I'll leave, call it the desk antenna again. I'll leave the power level, in this case, to 30 because I can kind of control this a little bit easier. Tag settings, I'm going to do the same thing. Report again after only after not visible, and report no longer visible. And that's basically it. I'm going to close it. I need to, on my source side, I need to change that to the fake cube on the left-hand side. And now I have a zebra reader hooked up to this database, as well as an emulated reader hooked up to the same database. And if I go back here and we can start both of these, I'll start both of these up. So what you'll notice is the zebra equipment is on. The emulated equipment is also on. You'll see that the little graphic here shows that it turned on some green lights, and the circle around the antenna is green as well. So if I take this equipment, now this is exactly what I was doing with the equipment here on my desk. I'm taking this item that has an RFID tag on it and placing it in the area of the read zone there, where this antenna is currently reading. In the background, you'll notice the emulated process has now gone up to 1. And if I jump back over to the database, now you can see the fake RFID tag was read at the desk antenna, and it was I didn't change the tag event. There was a new tag visible event. I didn't change it to on desk as well, but we have new tag event visible. At the same time, I could take those 2 tags again on my zebra equipment. So you notice, if you're watching in the background, if I go back there and put the 2 on top of that tag, on top of that antenna, I'll get those reports to the database. So this zebra equipment is feeding the same table. So just imagine your environment. You have a whole bunch of these RFID readers, maybe mixed technology, a barcode scanner versus a BLE scanner. Those are all feeding this same system, or it could be different. It's kind of up to you and where you want to send this tag data. But you're looking through this data, you can see I have this fake cube recorded a tag. The Heckman cube recorded some tags. Maybe I'll move this tag outside of that antenna, and then after the 5-second delay, you'll see it goes up to 2, and I go back to my database, and now I have a new entry for that fake cube tag that was scanned called tag no longer visible. I'm going to take the zebra device tags away, and those are going to go up to 4 after that 5-second delay. There's 4, and again, refresh my database, and I'm getting that data in my database here as well for off desk for those 2 the tags events being they left the area. So I get the timestamps with those as well. Okay, so I can mix and match technologies, fake ones, real ones, barcode scanning ones, Bluetooth beacon gateways, and I can have them all feeding this, in this case, same table, but again, it could be something completely different up to you. You could have one device shooting out emails. You can have another device recording data to a database. You can have another device, maybe it's a tabletop feeding a text file. It's up to you as to where you'd like all this tag information and event information being sent on the back end. So with that, I just wanted to go through some of the other features really quickly within ClearStream before I jump over back to the PowerPoint and to the RTLS kind of demo. So I'm going to stop these readers. And I just want to talk a little bit about some of the extra features here really quickly, just to show you some of the flexibility you can set up. These processes, you can filter tag data on the source side. You can set up all sorts of filtering, so you're only capturing tag data in your environment. A lot of products are tagged now. You need to make sure you're able to filter them, so you're not scanning the tags that you don't want in your environment. You can change how tag data is sent and updated on the destination side. So you can not only just append new records, but you can update records in the database. You can delete records in the database, things like that. Again, you have all sorts of different types of locations where you can send the data. ODBC databases, Excel text, and custom endpoints for services, web services or email, things like that. Or even you can have it actually type into a field on your PC that has a text where the cursor is. For the device options, you have a whole bunch of different types of equipment. So for the fixed RFID UHF side, we support LLRP, which is a lot of RFID devices out there, even if it's not listed here. Zebra devices, Intermec, Impinj, Alien, ThingMagic, FIG readers. BLE Gateways is this option here. So if you're looking to track beacons in your environment, you would select BLE beacons and then the type of gateway you're using. On board, this allows you to marry up, like I mentioned before, the ClearStream RFID product to ClearStream for Windows. So you can have ClearStream on board feeding data to ClearStream for Windows, which will then feed data to your mapped database. The emulated devices are the ones in that environment I showed you. Cognex barcode scanners, so fixed industrial scanners that might be set up in a fixed location, passively scanning barcodes. Custom allows you to actually feed web service calls through ClearStream. So you can actually do you could set this up in like Postman, anybody familiar with that, to send and feed data through a web form or Postman request through ClearStream to a mapped destination. And then group, you can group this. This is a logical grouping. I'll talk about this very briefly in the RTLS, but you can group your readers and devices in an environment to have them in a group, and then you only have to map the one group to a database. You don't have to map all of your individual readers. So this is kind of a helper, sort of logical option on there. For the devices, you have all different sorts of settings about how and when you're scanning for things. You can do timed, scan once a day, daily. You can do a GPI or input triggers. You can have a photo eye on a fixed reader and have it trip a read so it only reads for 10 seconds while the activity is in front of the reader. Antennas allow you to control the names and antenna powers like we went through. Tag settings allow you to control when and how tag data is sent to a destination. You only want to control the tag data the important tag data or event data that you want to send to your destination, not everything. Custom fields, you can attach custom fields to ClearStream. So if you want extra data on the device, you can add different fields that can be populated in different ways. It could be parsed data, it could be user memory bank data from a tag, as well as maybe static values. And then map them to a destination. So it adds to this field list you see in the background here, EPC, tag ID, and so on. You could add custom fields to this list that are then mappable. Actually, one important part there is down below I missed. The tag settings, you can decode SG-TIN encoded tags. When you do this, it actually adds additional fields, the SG-TIN field, to a fixed RFID device. So if your tags are SG-TIN 96 encoded, they can be decoded at the time of scan so that in the destination you get things like the UPC, the serial number, and the different field values that are in an SG-TIN encoded tag. And all you have to do is turn on decode SG-TIN. You can also control general purpose outputs on a fixed reader. So you can light up light stacks, buzzers, and things like that based on the activity that happens within ClearStream. So maybe a tag goes through a portal that's not supposed to, you could sound a buzzer for like a security type application. And the device tab just has some device specific things that you can configure per device type. I won't go through those today. But I hope these settings here can get everybody up on the webinar today, at least up and running quickly with ClearStream. It's kind of the basics, which it kind of hopefully shows you how easily you can add these devices to ClearStream and map them to a destination and see that tag data show up immediately. If you don't have any equipment, you can use that emulated environment to test things out if you'd like, and that's available as well if you download and install the ClearStream for Windows product. With that, I'm going to jump out of ClearStream and I'm going to just go back to the PowerPoint, if I may. It's going to swap on me. We have a new version of ClearStream due up in the first quarter of next year, ClearStream 8.0, which the big new feature within ClearStream 8.0 is support for our RTLS cloud product. It turns the ClearStream RFID that we just talked about into a processor of RTLS data. And RTLS is real-time locationing service or system, where it's giving you locations of items really by X, Y in an environment. So that if you have RFID readers outfitted across a facility, you can see where the tags below it are on top of a map. So you can get that XY positioning of RFID tags in the environment. So if you keep that in mind, everything that I showed you prior to this in ClearStream was really just feeding tag data from readers and grabbing the reader information and the antenna information of where that tag is. So if you're looking at the data in the access database that I had here, you can just see, okay, it was read at Howie's desk. So we sort of get in a general approximation of where that tag is. Or it was read at portal 1, but it was maybe only a timestamp of when it was at portal 1. Now we don't know where it is after it went through that portal. It was on Howie's desk last, but after it moved from Howie's desk, we only have the last timestamp of that. But maybe it went into your warehouse then, and you've lost sight of that. So that's where RTLS really fits in. It's a service or system that allows you to actually pull up a map and get the information for your tags that are in your environment to see exactly where a tag is on the map. So the ClearStream RTLS system, it's a cloud-based drag and drop editor. So it's a cloud-based service, so you'd log in to your account on our ClearStream portal to view your maps and configure your maps. It allows you to easily upload those maps and kind of design them out, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. Drag and drop of positioning the RFID readers in your environment. So you really just drag and drop where you have them installed within your facility or where you want to install them within your facility. You can set up zone configurations. We're going to support alerts for when items go from, say, one zone to another, and it's all configurable. So those could be email alerts or things like that, where you get a proactive notification of tags that are moving in your environment when they go from, say, one zone to another, things like that. And then you can also just view the real-time position of these RFID tags. So like that screenshot you see on the left there, that's a setup of a floor plan that has 4 devices configured, and you can see the tags underneath them if you load up that web view and look at those tags. So that's the only slide I have for it here. I'm just going to jump out of the PowerPoint again and jump over to the login for that. So I do have the ClearStream RFID for anybody that wants to download. So I'm here. Click on this free download button up at the top right here, or the try it, I believe, takes you to the same thing. That's where you can download the software and install everything. So here is the cloud portal for RTLS. So this is, again, it's due to be released first quarter of next year. But this is the login for the application. So I already have my username and login here. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. So some of you may be already familiar with some of this, in the sense that this dashboard shows you all of the devices that you have in your environment and which ones are online. You can see the Heckman Cube was a new device that I just added for our webinar today. That was added to my account. So I can see that device. I can see it's currently stopped. So just a little bit about some of this portal here. It's showing all of my devices in the environment, as well as here you can see there's a Bluetooth gateway that's online in our offices as well. Now, before I jump into the map configuration, one thing I wanted to mention is that we are looking to support a number of different devices for the RTLS. We want really to have any one of the technologies that are currently available within ClearStream to also be supported within RTLS. Now, one point to bring up with that is certain pieces of equipment are better at determining our RTLS location than others. So say you have a barcode scanner, you really can't get an XY coordinate of that. It's just scanning the barcode at a certain location. You could sort of assume that, I guess, the barcode is at that location at that point, but it's not going to track it when it goes past that. Same with like a fixed RFID reader, like an Impinj R700, or say a Zebra FX7500. Those devices, they have their antennas that'll read for a certain range, and they'll read all of the tags within that range, but really it's not going to tell where it is in a location with a very high level of detail.
There's certain devices that are good for that, and one of them is actually, you can see a screenshot here, is this Zebra ATR device. It's the ATR 7000. Now this is the one of the ones that we're looking to support right out of the box. It'll be available with the first release of RTLS, but it's really an overhead fixed RFID scanner that has a large number of antennas underneath it. So it's good for tracking tags as its tags are moving within an environment. So if you put a bunch of these in the ceiling in an environment, you can scan all the tags below it. And ClearStream will then take the data that's being accumulated by these readers and generate a best location of those tags with the environment and feed it to the PTS cloud, the RTLS cloud, so that you can log in there and see it in your map after you configure your map. So that's this device here. You can see in the screen. There's a couple of them in our account here, but they're ATR 7000s. Now we are looking to support all of the other devices in there as well. You just may not get the XY sort of locationing that you would with something like an ATR 7000. You would get that it's in an area and it would show up in the map in that area, but it wouldn't cover a large, square foot area within your environment. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly configure a map here, and I'll try to start this up and show the tags actually feeding into this. Excuse me. So from the left-hand menu of this cloud portal here, you'll see a maps configure option. I can jump into this maps configure option. I can see some of the maps that I already have configured. So this one here is actually from a presentation that we had done recently at the TWA Hotel at JFK Airport, where we set up some ATRs in that facility in the demo room there to track tags as they move throughout the environment. I also configured a second one here called Warehouse 1, which is a different location, just a kind of dummy map that I had uploaded. But you can see you can add all of these devices that you'd like to your environment and build out different floor plans for different locations. So I'm going to go ahead and hit add here for a new map. And once I select a map over on the right-hand side, let's do PTS office. Actually, I think the one I was going to select is a warehouse. So I have to go ahead and name the warehouse over here and hit choose file. I was going to do warehouse 3, I believe. So this adds a new map to my environment that I can now place ATRs on. I'm going to drop the pixels per grid down and configure this map. So here's just a dummy kind of floor plan that I've selected. So you can really upload whatever you'd like in this environment. But I can now go ahead and generate both zones as well as devices. So I'm going to place some devices in this environment here. So I'm going to take a device and drag and drop it onto the floor plan, and then kind of size it to this area that I'm looking to cover. Now this has to really match what the physical equipment can read, but it's resizable so that you can kind of test that in your environment to see what coverage you get. You may want additional, say, ATRs placed in different areas. So you'd put one in this room here, resize it to cover this area, maybe a third over here to cover this area as well. And now I'm tracking tags, and I'm going to get XY coordinates of where those tags are within these locations. Now I only have one ATR setup that I can currently use. Excuse me. And I'll just go ahead and set it up for this one. I'm going to jump back over to ClearStream because there is a little bit of configuration done on ClearStream. I'm going to close my previous ClearStream out. Now I'm going to open up ClearStream 8. I won't save my project there. ClearStream 8. Now again, this hasn't been released, but will be released with the RTLS service. I have 3 readers now actually in my environment already configured. I'm just going to go ahead and use these. There's ATR 7000. I have an ATR lobby, which isn't currently on, and they're in a group called the ATR group. That group, which is all of my ATRs that I have configured in the devices list here, is mapped to the ClearStream portal. So you can see I have it as the PTS RTLS cloud, and the mapping is set up to the RTLS, and I have my username and password. So just the same username and password I logged into the portal with, I'm setting as my destination here. So this is the setup you need to do on the ClearStream side. You need to add the ATRs in really just the same way we did the previous setup with ClearStream 7. You need to add your ATRs that you're currently using. Let me copy this. And then in the group, you need to check off this generate RTLS data. And basically what that tells it to do is all of these ATRs in this group are now going to track the tags that are below them and feed that XY coordinate data that's calculating over to the ClearStream RTLS side here on the right-hand side. So in my map, I do need to set this device to have its data identifier to be that ATR 7000. And I'll call it the, I don't know, stockroom, I don't know. And then save my map. So now I have 3 devices configured here. And just to go over some of the other settings, you can set up images and things where you can actually have tags, have custom images on them. So maybe you're tracking a forklift in area or something else. You can set your own images within the environment. And then you can set up tag rules for when those images apply and things like that. I'm not going to go ahead into a lot of the settings here today, but you can control a lot of the stuff about the device, as well as different settings on the device itself, colors and all that sort of stuff. But I have this one device set up to be the ATR 7000. Now, I save my map. I'm going to go over to the live view. I'll select this map from my dropdown. And now all I'm going to do is go ahead and turn on ClearStream here. And if all goes as planned, I'll turn this on. I'm now turning on the ATR 7000. There's only one in this case. That other one with the red is disabled currently at the moment. That was one I was testing with earlier. But this ATR group now will go ahead and start scanning for tags below the, in that environment there. And as those tags move throughout the facility, it's going to feed that RTLS data over to the cloud portal in the PTS portal side there. So unless somebody took my tag out of the area that I was demoing with in there, there it goes. So now it's generating RTLS tag data, and that can take a while because of the algorithms that it's running. It's processing a lot of tag data to try to get the best location. So that fed one tag sitting in the other room over to the cloud portal. And if I go back to the cloud portal there, if I go to, I'm going to go real time because there's a couple different modes here. Now, 2 of these tags were actually things that were reported earlier. So those are going to fade out of the view here. But I do have this one tag that's sitting below the reader, kind of to the left-hand side, you can see here. Now, you're going to get a little bit of movement. There's a little bit of bounce depending on your environment for where that tag is. But it shows you the trail of that. If I were to actually move this tag and I had those other 2 readers configured over here, you would see this trail follow this tag over to the other readers, and you can see the movement of that tag. Now, it's really only going to be bouncing back and forth a little bit on that one location there because it isn't actually moving at the moment. But you can see that it's at that location. So if I were to go into that room and I was looking for that particular tag, I can see it's approximately a couple feet off the wall from this, you know, whatever this thing is here, a cabinet in this location. So I can see a real-time view of where that tag is located. Now, those other ones, like I mentioned, will kind of filter out of this view. I'm in a real-time view, and it's only going to be showing me tags that are been scanned very recently. And this one's actively being scanned within the environment, so I can see it tracked there. I'm going to go, you know, I'll walk into the other room. Don't mind me if you hear people talking, but I'm going to walk over to the other room and go ahead and move this tag so that we could get a better trail of it. And we'll just move it across. Now, I'm not seeing anything, so I apologize, but I'm going to walk back over to my desk, and we should see that trail to the other side. So that now, as it's calculating this position, I just placed it a little further down in the room. Hopefully it moves for me to the other side, but it's calculating that location within the environment, and it'll be recording it on this map. Now, a couple things to note here. It's recording the historical tracking of this tag as well. So this tag, if I grab the right one there and filter down to a particular tag, that's why it's only one, but there it goes. So now it's tracking it to the other side of the room there. And now if I go actually to the historical, I can look at the historical through this portal here of where this tag is located. So I can see the tracking of that tag. It's still smoothing it out, hopefully over to the other spot where I loaded it up. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you today. The tracking of these tags in the environment and get a sneak peek of that. And again, it's as these things are being moved, you can see it's recording and sending the tag over to the PTS portal for tracking on that. You can see historical data, and we're working on the ability to upload your own reference data so you can see all of these items with detailed descriptions of what they are in the environment so you know what you're looking for. So it's kind of a sneak peek of that. Look, keep an eye out for that for the first quarter of 2025. We're hoping it kind of builds out even more functionality into ClearStream, not just in passive tag data collection, but also then this kind of active, proactive view of where tags are in your environment and getting alerts for when things happen within your system. So let me go back to the PowerPoint. I'm running out of time here as well. And we're at questions. Any questions you may have? Let me swap this. So questions, and I saw some pop up at the beginning of the webinar, so let me try to get over to those. And just kind of, I always struggle with this little window they give you for the go-to webinar, so let me see what I can get to here. If I don't get to anything, I apologize. Please feel free to reach out to us at the webinar. I'll have the contact information up here in 1 second. First question, it's always the first one for some reason. Will we be getting a recording of this webinar? Yeah, so we always love to post these online. We'll just do a little bit of editing, taking out my welcoming at the beginning and any lingering at the end or anything like that. But we post these online so that you guys can review them, follow along, and kind of set things up as well. Question here, do you have any 4G or GPS offerings? GPS is actually one thing that we are looking for adding into ClearStream for passive tracking. So there's a lot of GPS kind of tracking modules out there that feed over cell phone networks. That's something that we're looking on adding ClearStream. If you have any specific use cases or models that you'd like us to take a look at, please reach out to us at the end of the webinar. We'd be happy to see that. As far as 4G or network connectivity, a lot of the devices now, some of them come with WAN radios built in. Those are supported out of the box. It doesn't really matter how the devices connect to ClearStream. If you could load them up, say, with ClearStream on board, that's a perfect use case. ClearStream on board, feed some type of WAN connection back to ClearStream for Windows, feed that data to another system. Here's a question, can I take my scanner and hook it up to SAP? Yes, SAP is always tricky to set things up, but we have a large number of customers using the custom endpoints within ClearStream to map a fixed RFID reader to a custom object in SAP through some type of JSON payload. You can just send that data over to one of the SAP web service endpoints. And things like ServiceNow is another good example of that. ServiceNow, you can feed tag data using ClearStream out of the box. You just have to select custom endpoint and be sure to select a template that matches what ServiceNow or SAP is expecting. Question here, what is BLE? BLE stands for Bluetooth Low Energy. So BLE is another passive tracking type technology. It's a battery powered tag and it runs over Bluetooth. So it has a much longer read range than fixed RFID. It can go up to, say, 300 feet in an open air environment. And you install a simple Bluetooth gateway in order to receive the pings from those beacons. Those beacons send out their packets, basically IDs of who they are and some other bits of information. And you can also get the kind of zone-based information with that as well. So we're looking to hook that up to our RTLS solution. So you can use those battery-powered tags, which require less infrastructure. The gateways are relatively affordable than, say, a fixed RFID solution. The downside to BLE is they're battery-powered. So you do have to tag beacon maintenance where you have to put new batteries in every once in a while when the batteries die. Another question about, is there a way to download this webinar in case I pulled away from the live demo? Yep, we'll have these posted. Just keep an eye out on our YouTube channel for ClearStream, and you'll see a link as soon as it's all put together. Okay, here's a question. If I use the onboard client ID reader and change the API endpoint to a different server than ClearStream, is there a way to still see tags being read by the reader? This would be helpful in validating tag reads at reader locally versus having only access to this alternate server endpoint. Yeah, so that's actually a perfect use case for ClearStream Onboard. You can set that endpoint to really whatever you'd like in ClearStream Onboard. You use the web portal to do that, and it supports a web service endpoint, and it sends a JSON payload of the tags that are read. So you can send that to something else entirely differently than ClearStream for Windows or even our standard PTS cloud. You can send that to a third-party system, and you can see that payload and easily parse it into something else. Hope that answers your question. Another question about a webinar being recorded. Yep, it'll be available for everybody. There's a question from Michael. Does the ATR lobby device require dedicated power or have a battery option? I don't believe there's any type of battery options. It's a PoE device, so you can have just the one Ethernet cable plugged into the device. You don't need a separate power cord. So that can power over PoE. It does have an AC adapter as well, so you can plug it in if you have power at the location, but it's a PoE type device. Here's a great question from Diego. Will the RTLS only come in a cloud model, or will it be an on-premise model that does not need to connect to outside in-house network? So this is a good question. As a Rev 1, it'll be cloud only. But we are looking to have this service be able to be installed as an on-premise solution as well. I don't have a time frame on that. If you'd like to reach out to us, we can keep you posted on that. But the first rev of this in Q1 would be a cloud offering only. But we do want to wrap that because we have a lot of our customers, government customers, things like that, that can't have outside access to cloud-based software. So it is something that we always kind of strive to do for our products. It's keep it flexible for any type of install. Here's another question about the RTLS stuff from John. When using RTLS, can you search for a particular tag? Is there an entry for this or serial number ID so that you could use the map for location in lieu of using a handheld to locate? Yeah, that's one of the things I didn't go into that. That grid control on the bottom of the map, there's a filter option there. So you select the tag or the item, which also has all the descriptions of what that is. If you notice that there was an employee list in the bottom of mine. But you can select that and hit filter, and it'll filter the dots up on the top to the tag that you've selected. So you can see where that is in your environment. You wouldn't necessarily need a handheld then to do, say, like the Geiger counter. You can see where that dot's located. But yeah, you can filter that down to those particular locations. There's one more question here. I'm just trying to get this visible for me. I don't know why it's. Can the software be set to only read triggered reads? For example, a scan gun that has a trigger on it versus an auto scan. I think if you want to have the reader only reading at a particular time based on activity, I think that would be the general purpose input, that GPI area that I mentioned in ClearStream. You can have the fixed readers have certain number of input ports where you can hook up buttons or motion sensors or photo eyes and things like that. And ClearStream will completely support the ability to have that trip the read. Excuse me. So if you had a photo eye at the location and you hook it up to GPI port 1, the only configuration you need to do in ClearStream is switch the tag, the scan mode to GPI, set the port number to wherever you have that photo eye installed, and then specify how long you want it to read. So then somebody walks through a portal, they trip the photo eye, it reads for X number of seconds, shuts off, sends all the tags that were scanned to the destination. Hope that answers your question. So here, I made another question from Felipe. Can I extract tracking data directly to a cell phone from the reader using ClearStream? I don't see why not. Now, in an in-house on-prem solution with ClearStream, ClearStream is generally feeding another system. So if you're feeding a internal ERP system or things like that, that data really, ClearStream's not really providing it to cell phone, but the system that you're feeding it to would have that data available. Alternatively, if you were to use a PTS cloud, we could configure that in your PTS cloud, and that would probably be one of like a common use case where the fixed RFID readers are feeding your PTS cloud. the users on their phones can log into the web portal, enter their username and password, and see the data that's being collected. And one of those things could be just, you know, where items are, the tracking data, historical tracking data, things like that. So that could be built into the PTS cloud. If it's not in the PTS cloud, it's typically something that's provided on that kind of on-prem database where you're storing the data that ClearStream is forwarding. Another question here from Diego. Will the RTLS support directionality, for example, asset entered or exits the zone? Yeah, so that's actually another thing. So like I mentioned, you could configure zones there. I didn't do that, but on that map, you can draw zones. The zones can be like half the ATR, left and right or top and bottom. And then you can set up events between when things go from one zone to the other zone. Those events could be things like an email, you could shoot out an email, or they could be make an entry into a database or into the PTS cloud service that tag 123 went from zone 1 to zone 2 or zone 2 to zone 1. So yeah, that could be built into the portal. Any other questions? Nothing up here. Let me bring up the our contact information. Let's go past this slide. Send over any questions if you do have them. I'd be happy to interrupt myself and answer them. But here's our contact information. If you guys have anything that you need after the webinar, even feedback for the webinar, please reach out to us. If you have questions while you're setting things up, reach out to us as well. Hopefully you guys will go to the website and download ClearStream and give it a shot and test these devices in your environment. So there's all our contact information. Again, this webinar will be posted to our YouTube channel for ClearStream, so you can check it out after the call today. I guess it doesn't look like there's any more questions, and we're a little bit over here, so I apologize to everybody. All right, well, thanks again, everybody, for joining us. Really appreciate you taking time out of your schedules to check out the stuff here at PTS. Hopefully this is helpful and informative to everybody. We look forward to getting your feedback on the webinar, as well as the new features within ClearStream, and hope it helps you guys get started with all of this cool stuff. So with that, enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Hope everybody has a great day, and we'll see you on the next webinar. All right, bye-bye.